Today, we're going to fabricate a sheet metal brake here in the garage. Stick around. What's going on, guys? It's Brian from Block Garage, and today I got something different for you. I've been trying to bend up a piece here to go on the 280Z, and it's just not working. I don't have a brake, and I've been doing everything basically clamping it between a couple pieces of angle iron and hitting it with my hammer. It's worked for the most part, but it's not working for the piece I'm trying to make here. I contemplated just going to buying a brake at Harbor Freight. They're pretty cheap. However, that'd be like a 2.5, 3 hour round trip for me. It's about an hour away, you know, gotta spend some time in the store shopping. So I don't really want to do that today. And I also don't want to put off working on this project because I got a 4-day weekend here. I want to take advantage of everything I can to get more work done on the 280Z. So we're gonna make our own. I've looked up some designs, and the one I'm gonna go with and copy the most is by another YouTuber called I Like to Make Stuff. So his design is actually a bunch of different designs that he researched and copied off of them. So it looks like a fairly easy thing to make. I believe I have everything I need right here in the garage, and it shouldn't cost me anything at all to make this. So let's jump right into it, and I'll walk you through it as I figure it out myself. So to show you guys the basics of how a sheet metal brake works, basically this piece here is fixed, never moved. Then you got another piece out here that is hinged. Your sheet metal is going to sit flat underneath this piece right here, and you're just going to take this, and this piece just comes up and folds just like that. And obviously your sheet metal is going to fold right here along this line, so you got a nice crisp line. You can take this and you can, you know, go right 90 degrees or past 90 degrees actually with it to get like that. Or you can stop anywhere in between to get the angle that you need. So this is what you basically want to get started. We got our 2 hinges here. These are just regular door hinges. We are going to have to modify those just a little bit. I've got this 2x6 here. All that's for is to hold everything together, basically, just to make it easy and portable. You know, I'm not attaching it to my bench. What I've done is I've left 4-ish inches right here on both sides, so that I got room to C-clamp it to my bench so it doesn't move when I go to use it. We got this piece here that's going to fit inside of our hinges, and then we got 2 more pieces approximately the same length that are an inch-ish longer than our hinges, outside to outside dimensions. So the first thing that I'm going to do is this piece here does not sit completely flush on the 2x6 because the inside edge of a piece of angle iron is rounded and the edge of the 2x6 is square-ish. So I'm just going to take my palm sander real quick and knock that edge off so that this can sit nice and flush. Now, one small change we got to make is to these hinges. Normal door hinge, it's got a flat plane right across here so that it sits nice and flush when you've got it mounted on your door and your door frame. However, we're not doing that. So if we were to put this on here just like this, and then it's going to sit on top of this piece of angle iron, you can see, you know, it's not perfect right now, but see, we got a big step right here. Obviously that's not going to work. So what we're going to do is we're going to take this hinge and we're going to pop the pin out. And then we're going to take one side and flip it over. So the next thing we want to do is get this bending piece up here. This hinge is going to sit right on here and be attached here. This is where it's going to fold up. But as you can see right now, if I go to put this up here, we got a gap here, and that's because we're hitting on the hinge. So we're going to take our marker, and we're going to mark out where our hinge is going to go on both sides. And then we're basically going to cut out this corner right here. Now we got to attach our hinge to our bending piece of angle iron. So what I've done is I've marked some holes right here. We got some bolts, so we just got to go drill some holes and we can attach it. So something just occurred to me. I got a way better idea. I got a welder sitting right there. I'm just gonna weld those hinges onto this. If you're making one, go ahead and drill and bolt them. If you got a welder, it's gonna be so much simpler just to weld them on, so I'm gonna go and do that. So now that we got this piece on so it can bend up, that's the actual bending portion of the brake. We need something to bend it against. So this piece of angle iron is going to sit right up on here on top, and this is going to go up and bend against it. Now the way he did it was he notched this out right here and kept this full length down here. I'm not sure why, because you'll never be able to bend anything past right here and here anyway. So I think what I'm going to do is I'm just going to shorten up this top piece so it sits like that just inside of the hinge. So the next thing we want to do is we want to make this edge right here on this piece of angle iron nice and flat. So these edges are rounded, and if you can tell, see when we got it sit on here, see there's a little bit of a gap there, and we don't want that because it's not going to make nice crisp clean lines. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this over and do my best with the grinder and just kind of try and take this edge off right here, so that when I put this back down on here, we won't have that rounded edge anymore. She fits nice and tight now. Just take your time with that, don't go too much. You don't want to have like a gouge in it or something, then your sheet metal's not going to bend well. So the next thing we got to do is get a way to clamp this piece down so that it holds our sheet metal in place. Basically what we're going to do is go up through with a bolt like that, washer and a nut on top, and it can just cinch down. Now we want our bolts close to the edge to maximize our working space here, but obviously not right on the edge. And it's very hard to drill on the top of this angle here, so what we're going to do is actually just flip it over. We'll drill a hole somewhere right around here, somewhere right around here. Now I'm going to take this and just flatten the top edge a little bit, just so that when we got our washer on there, it doesn't wobble quite as much. Now we'll just mark a hole real quick where we can drill down through. Now since our bolt's holding that down, go through like this, I can't be having the head stick down. So I don't have the right bit to actually do this. I'm going to try this spade bit. At some point I'm probably going to need to pick up some carriage bolts, but I'm hoping that this will work for now. I'll pick up some wing nuts also for here because that would make it a lot easier. I just don't have any on hand. Now the only thing we got left is to get some leverage to actually bend this stuff up. So I'm gonna make a couple handles coming out like this. The only thing I could come up with is a couple pieces of this square stock. Not ideal for a handle, but I think it'll work. We'll tack them on there real quick just like that. And as long as they work, then we'll fully weld them on. There we go. Let's give it a try. Look at that. That's perfect. And we can go past 90 degrees. To be honest, that works way better than I expected it to. And this is decently thick sheet metal. It's 18 gauge. You know, it's not super thin stuff. Bent it like nothing. Way better quality bend than what I've been trying to do, clamping a piece of sheet metal between a couple pieces of angle iron and hitting it over with my body hammer. That works, but this, so much better. And made it ourselves, so it's even better than just going out and buy it. So, if you're in need of a brake at all, if you're doing custom sheet metal work, highly suggest trying to build it yourself. If you got any scrap metal laying around at all, this works really well. I mean, it's not a huge one. You could build one 5-6 feet wide if you want. I mean, you'd have to have some really thick and wide angle iron so that it doesn't bend in the middle when you got stuff clamped down trying to bend it. But it could be done. For this, for just what I'm doing, small sheet metal work on the 280Z, it's perfect. You could easily just go out and buy one. I think it's like 45, 50 bucks. Smaller than this, it's like 18 inches. We have about 22 inches across. You know, and I could have built this bigger if I wanted to. I have enough angle iron, I could have done it, but this I think will work well. Should do everything I need to do. Improvements for the future though, like I mentioned, I gotta get some carriage bolts with some wing nuts on here so that this is easier to tighten down. The bolt does like to spin in the bottom because it's just a regular hex head on the bottom. So carriage bolt will help with that. Handles aren't ideal, but they were easily enough leverage at only this length, which is about 13.5 inches from the inside. Easily enough leverage for this. I mean, granted, there's not much force there because it's a narrow piece, but no effort, bent that. If you got any fabrication skills, which you should, if you need a metal brake, you got to have some fabrication skills, right? Or you wouldn't need one. So I highly suggest building one of these your own. Hope you guys like this. Let me know if you got any ideas for ways I can improve it even more over this, or if you've built one yourself and have a couple tips or anything that could help somebody else out that's watching. But that'll do it for now. If you think you might like the channel, check out some of the 280Z videos. We've been doing a lot of work on that and a lot more to come.